Hi everyone, welcome back. If you want to support me, please press like, it's really helpful. Looking at the problems that people have with the concept of what is the equation of a straight line. Interesting part is where we'll make all these equations of straight lines and get kids to do the gradient and the y-intercept, but then you'll get to, it's quite surprising, get to year 11 how many students will muck up all the ideas around this. There are so many in terms of little twists and differences that will muck people up. I like to keep as often as I can, most people know, back to one equation. There is actually three forms I can use, but these days I only teach one. It's just this one, the y equals mx plus c. And I'm often looking at students and I'll have a question in a textbook or an exercise or on a worksheet, and they balk at the idea, they hesitate at the idea what to do in the first place. Well, it's talking about a straight line, and the moment you're talking about a straight line, there's really only this one formula, y equals mx plus c. The interesting part is most students know that and know it inside out, but still often get the question wrong. So let's go back to this idea here. We need to calculate an m. We need to calculate c as well, but we're not calculating the x and y. We're using the x and y, but we need to calculate the m for the gradient and the c for the y-intercept. Let's have a look what's going on. So right down over here, I'm getting more and more around trying to give people a rule. If you're on this topic, it's better to get understanding, but often the rule comes, as you use the rule, your understanding comes. And next, still, students about writing xy, 1, 1, 2, 2. I've seen many students who put the numbers in the wrong spots. So if you do that and you've got your formula, or you know your formula, then you put the four numbers in the right place. Now, I made these numbers really easy for the first case. So it's going to be 12, take 4, and it's going to be 5, take 1. Made it deliberately easy, so that's an 8 over 4, which is just 2. So we now know that our gradient is 2. Now we're back to this idea. Substitution, everything's about substitution over and over and over again. Go back to our equation, we've got y equals, now we know that the gradient of the line that goes between them, if we want to, you could draw up a diagram on grid paper and show it. And you've got a gradient of 2. So we now got a 2x plus c. And what do we need to find next? And we need to find, or I should say, calculate c, or determine c. So talking about getting that number, which again is the y-intercept. So what are we back to? Substitution. So I can pick any point on that line. Doesn't matter which one, doesn't matter whether I pick that one, whether I pick that one. Over here with negatives, sometimes I look for the less negative questions. But this one I'm going to pick the smaller number of 1 and 4. So I'm going to put 1 for the x. Remember, it's a multiplied by 1 plus c. And I put a 4 for the y. So you've got 4 equals 2 plus c. And the same old basics, take 2, and you've got c equals 2. So the equation of the line that passed that, the unique equation, is 2x plus 2. And that's the equation of our line that passes through those 2 points. So in principle, what we're doing, gradient first, using the gradient formula, then using the equation of the straight line, substituting and getting the answer. I'm just going to go through a negative case as well, because that's where students muck up more often. So now again, nagging about the idea of putting xy, 1, 1, 2, 2. Mind you, most students don't need to do that. It's just some. So let's have a look at what we're going to do. Gradient first, have to get the gradient first. Always getting m, the gradient first. And we're going to go to y2, subtract the y1, and you end up with a double negative, the x2. So we've got an 8 take 4. Now, I still will think, you know, I just look at those two and I just write a plus. So the old 2 negatives make a positive, 2 negatives make a positive. I forget about all the other rules, just 2 negatives that are next to each other can turn into a positive. Most people will be okay with negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 3, maybe some people need to see it. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. I mean, I think everyone's confident with it, but I just see how many mistakes that people make. And then the 8 take 4 is 4. And we've got a gradient this time of a negative a half. So we've got negatives all over the place. By the way, if we want to make it the worst possible, you get negatives for all 4 of those and a negative for a gradient as well. So what are we doing? We're back to the simple rule, mx plus c. We now know what m is. That m is negative a half. And we're back to substitution. What do we substitute? Which one looks easier? 4 minus 1 or 8 minus 3? It doesn't matter which one. I'd always pick the small numbers. So the y value is minus 1. You're going to minus a half times the x value. And what have we got? Minus 1, got to watch out for silly mistakes, equals minus 2 plus c, and people make so many mistakes. So if I go add 2 to this side, add 2 to that side, and I've got c here, minus 1 plus 2 is 1. So here's our equation, nice and easy. We've got minus a half of x plus 1, and there's our second equation. So that's how we get the equations of a straight line, equation of a straight line given any 2 points. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful. See you in the future.